What is up, everybody? Welcome to another Let's Talk Live. Got Shadow Fox here with me today. You guys can see the title, and since we got this game coming up a month from now,
Yep.
actually, Xenoblade Chronicles X Definitive Edition, thought we'd give people a little bit of a what to expect type deal, right? Because we were talking before we got started here, and I know it's the impromptu, but we were talking about how the whole Metroid Dread situation and people claiming that they love Metroid, and then as soon as Metroid Dread dropped, they were claiming it was too hard to play.
Yep.
So, in an effort to be nice, we're gonna try and help people out a little bit with Xenoblade Chronicles X. There's no way in the world all these people play Xenoblade Chronicles X and the Wii U only sold 14 million units. I'm sorry. There just ain't no way. So what we're gonna do here, I'm probably gonna run into a couple times before I get killed on purpose. Because I am at where I'm at in this playthrough. It's before I get the scale, and there's a couple of missions I have to do, and I just don't want to do them because they piss me off. So they own me.
Anyway.
Okay, god dang it, die already. So we'll just start this off with what to kind of expect in this game. If you play 1 and 2, you have an idea, right?
Yep. Avoid the things that where the theme music plays.
Yeah,
when the theme music plays, you're about to die. And this game, there's no mercy at all. So you have to know what you're doing, and if you're fighting anything that's going to be a little bit too more powerful, but some things are more powerful, but they're beatable. So you have to figure out a way to either topple lock or stun lock, or there's different states you could put an enemy in, and if you can continuously do that, more than likely you could fail that enemy. So but no, JBs, we're not going to spoil the game for you. It's just a couple things to get you, to keep you from being frustrated early on, because regardless of what the benefits that Switch is going to give you for having, making the battle system a little bit easier for you, you will get owned repeatedly, and I would say don't get frustrated getting owned either, because it's a learning experience. You die and you go right back to where you were the last, how can I say this, the last map save point. Like every once in a while there's like chunks in the world where you will spawn back to after you die, and you can just go right back to typically if it's a tyrant, you'll be right back in front of it again after you die. So you don't have to worry about too much, and you keep all the experience that you gained before you died and all that kind of stuff. So it's just a learning experience. If you don't want to get owned, then you know to avoid certain enemies. Also with this game, I forgot appendages are critical in this game too. So you have to target what you're attacking to. So there's that part as well. So enemies have weak points, like this deserter here, the deserter Scipio here. Like you can attack the bottom. If you attack the bottom and burst it, then as you just see right there, you get more critical hits in. So, it's just one of the things to know how to do, because this game, I don't know why people kept saying, they played this game and they did not. Clearly, I guess more people, because they heard how can I say this, how much of a cult following this game has. Other people are clinging to it and saying they've played it and, without owning a Wii U somehow, which means they probably emulated it and broke copyright.
The emulation doesn't work, by the way.
Yeah, and emulation had been broken for a real long time in this game. Like some people have done it, but like playing all the way through it requires a lot of stopping and going and fixing different things and downloading different shader and texture packs and stuff like that. It's a lot of management for this game. That and the loads are weird and wonky in this game, because all this entire game sits in RAM the entire time. It takes a long load when you first initially start playing it, because after that there are no loads unless you fast travel. So What you see is what you get. Everything around you is something you could go to, and you don't have to worry about any loading screens to get there. So, but I would definitely say you watch your equipment. You want to, you want to, you definitely want to, you want to learn abilities as well because there's skills and stuff that you can learn here. And once you learn those skills, you can max out a class. And once you max out a class, once you successfully fulfill maxing out a class, you'll be able to master it, and you'll be able to add that class to another class that you're trying to use. So at some point, once you max out the levels for all the arts in the class, you rank up in that class and you max it out. And if you max it out, then you can pick and choose which abilities you want from other classes. So that's an early little test. I think there is a story requirement that you have to get to first before you're able to actually do that. I don't know if it's chapter 2 or 3, but one of those chapters you have to get past before you can do that.
I think it's 3.
Yeah, at least start working on leveling your abilities in each in the class that you choose first. Get those skills up, and then you're ready to move on to another class.
And don't forget to upgrade your stuff. Gee, don't forget.
Yeah, upgrade your skills. It's the night and day difference because the little stat increases that you get, like the little boost that you get from some of these skills, they literally can be life and death, especially early on, because you don't have a scale to lean on to one shot stuff and collect better equipment. Is literally what you kill is how you're able to get equipment in that game, and you have to earn it early on. So the road to scale is a lot of work.
Yeah. That's why you're probably not going to see that on this playthrough, just because I'm not. There's a couple chapter things I have to do, and I'm not there yet. So, yeah, I'll probably do another one as soon as I get that first scale, just to give you a slight little overview of that. But right now, you're probably not going to see it just because I don't. It's going to take too long. Where I'm at, I already know where I'm at, and it's going to take too long. In all honesty. All right, that's all her stuff.
Yeah, so as you build up right here, we can kind of figure out what you got going on here. But yeah, this game it's no holds barred. It's not gonna hold your hand. It's gonna teach you things one time, and you better have been paying attention. So I don't know how well they'll expand upon that in the definitive edition. They may hold your hand a little bit and give you some extra, maybe the tutorials and whatnot are a little bit more expanded, but I will say definitely pay attention the first time. And I would say take advantage of the fact that there's no fall damage too, because you can explore and get to different places just by, you think hey, I don't want to go all the way up here and jump down here. That might be the only way to get there without flying or having a scale to be able to drive or whatever to get that high up. So if you find a windy path to get to the top of something and there's something way down below, and don't think that you're going to get fall damage. Just jump down there if there's no other way to get there, and you're able to, eventually you'll be able to get, once you're able to get to different areas or whatever, you can get to a probe, jump to probes as quick as you can, because that basically that unlocks a new save state, a new area for you to spawn from, and a new area for you to warp to, so you can jump back and forth. Early on, you want to see those load screens because you want to jump back and forth as much as possible as you're collecting and going back from area to area. Especially I would definitely say in Noctilum, you definitely want to use those spawn points as much as possible, because there'll be a lot of traversal, and there's a lot of vertical climbing that takes a long time if you don't use those warp points and you're going back and forth to do stuff. So what do I think of the new art style? It looks like a mix between the the definitive edition of Xenoblade Chronicles and Xenoblade Chronicles X. Basically, it's like they put that art style on top of this game.
I mean, you kind of had to figure they were going to do that at some point.
Yeah,
because they put too much time into that engine.
And it'll be kind of hard to like, even though Xenoblade Chronicles 2 is effectively more cell shaded, they had to like blend that art style with this one at some point, because you want people to at least recognize who Elma is, if that's the character that's going to be what's more recognizable to get people to jump into this game. Is people that play Xenoblade Chronicles 2 are like, hey, I know her, and then they'll want to get in this game because they recognize that character. And I will say, for people that follow us should know by now, but anybody that's new here, first of all, subscribe to the channel, subscribe to the channel. If you're new here, and then this game, since you know this character or whatnot from Xenoblade Chronicles 2, this is a drastically different game. It has the same combat system in a way. So yeah, you don't press buttons to do attacks. You just press a button to select the art, and then it activates when it's time to activate. It's more of like an MMO where you select a rotation of arts that you want to do. Instead of just like doing combos and whatnot, it's more about what art do you do next that applies a different stat that will link to another stat that will link to another stat. And you want to do that early on. It's critical that you do it with your party as well, because you're not going to be strong enough by yourself to link all the arts together initially. So you need to master all the arts in your entire party and make sure they all link together. So if you have a shield in your party, or somebody that does a lot of healing in your party, you want to make sure that you do arts that increase tension. So your party member has high enough tension so they could do their heal. You need about 2,000 to 3,000 tension points to do a healing art, and it'll give you like a like your teammate will call out and say, hey, I need to do a thing, and then the context sensitive button, which is B in this game, will show up, and you just need to hit it with the right timing, and you'll heal the party while you're doing certain things. The same thing is true of other buffs that happen to your party as well, and these are party wide. So it 3,000 tension points. So this is party wide. So it heals the entire party, or it affects the entire party for stat boost or defense boost or what have you. So and other things too, like you can, I don't know if you see now the sword that Jay has right now. You can buff that to where the range of it is longer. Especially if it's an ether weapon, you can make it have a range that basically, if it's anywhere in a mile radius, is getting hit. So that's critical for like if there's a lot of mobs or something to that effect. You're able to clear them all out in 1 or 2, 3 hits. You don't have to worry about focusing on a single enemy. That becomes really critical later on in your in-game builds and stuff like that, because you really need to be able to take care. You need to be able to target multiple appendages at one time, and you need to be able to target multiple enemies at one time. So, but yeah, you definitely want to take advantage of those kind of things. So just notice what type of. So you have weapon classes and types. You have what I don't even know if you want to say element, but what type of material that weapon uses. So that would determine what type of effect it has. Whether excuse me, I need some water. But it determines whether it does burn properties, whether it's just or it causes the bleed effect, or if it's ether, like I said before, or if it's just reflect damage or something to that effect. So reflect later in the game is going to be really scary. One of the main things you'll see in this game, in this area, you'll come across is called the deity, and you'll see it. You'll know that's it, and if you go to it, you'll find out why you fear it. So
oh yeah, bruh. The first time I ran into that thing, and I'm sitting up here trying to act like I'm tough.
Yeah. So I will definitely say there's definitely skills you want to learn early on as an attacking class or as a Full Metal Jaguar class. You want to learn skills like Appendage Crusher or I'm trying to think what the other skill is. There's another skill that buffs either your ether damage or it buffs your next attack if guaranteed, or makes your next attack guaranteed. You want to buff all those stats as much as possible because as you make other builds, they will benefit you later on. So I would definitely say buff Elma's stats as much as you can so you can take some of her skills and use them later on, because you will need her skills at some point as yourself.
Yeah, because matter of fact, as soon as I finish doing Duelist, that's the next one I'm going for is Full Metal Jaguar.
Yeah,
I did not do that my first playthrough of this game, and it bit me hard during the end game.
There's some, it's not a requirement, but I will say playing some of these higher level enemies using Ghostwalker it's a lot easier to not get one shotted dealing with some of these enemies, because some of these enemies have attacks that your equipment just isn't ready to receive that damage for yet. So yeah, if you're and I would say for anybody that hasn't played the game, just be ready for that MMO feel. Like you see what Jay's doing now. He's like going from art to art and kind of moving around. You also want to make sure that you're just like in the regular Xenoblade Chronicles, that you're within range to do certain attacks. Obviously, if you have a melee weapon, you want to be in closer because you'll do more damage that way. And if you have a ranged weapon, you're probably better, or you have more guaranteed hits if you're further away. Also, it'd be you'll receive less damage if you're further away, and you can have somebody else in your party to tank and draw more of the aggro, so they can receive the damage and you don't. So that's probably the better thing to do. I appreciate that J2 was saying we're a better preview than Nintendo. Like there's some drama going on with that right now, but I'll let the YouTubers battle.
They tripping over there, boy.
Yeah, but yeah, man, it's just a really fun game. You have to know what you're doing though, and it's very deliberate. If you lose, it's really your fault. Like the game tells you exactly what everything does. You could see every enemy stats and what they do, what attacks they do, and stuff like that. So worst case scenario, you could just look at the enemy and it'll give you all the stats of everything that they do. So I don't know if that's before or after you kill them though. I think as long as you come across them once, you can see their stats. So if there's something that's just owning you repeatedly over and over again, you can at least look at their stats to see what's killing you. Worst case scenario, I would say use game capture because you can still see what attacks they're readying or whatever.
Right. Let me see if I think it's Intel.
Yeah, it should be
enemy index.
Enemy index, yeah. And I think it should be.
You can go by region. Yeah, because I haven't unlocked the Civilum and Calderos. You can't do that until you get your scale. Yep. But since we're in Noctilum, let's just take a look. Yeah, Raging Simius, Forest. Bacon.
Yep. and they can tell you. Then they tell you what materials what drops you can get off of them and stuff like that. So
yeah, like
I think if you hit L or R, it'll give you combat data. I'm not really certain. Been a while. I forget how it shows you or whatever, but it'll tell you when they appear, what time, what weather.
Yeah, because for this one they appear 0 to 0. They're just there. In this particular suet is only in Noctilum. There's like 5 different types of these that's all over the place, because you'll see them when you in that open area when you first get there. But this one, the green and the green and pinkish orange, they're basically native to Noctilum, basically. Yep. So, and then they show you all the material you get off of it. So, I mean, let me see if I got here it is, Lambert, the Divine Wind. This tyrant.
Yep, and it's got the
pain in the patella, by the way.
So salvageable material. So you still have a material that you haven't ripped off of it yet. So and 9 times out of 10, if it's a material that doesn't show up on here, that means that it was an appendage that you had to destroy to get to it. Yeah. And if you kill an enemy without taking that appendage off, chances are you're not going to get the drop that comes from that appendage also. So that's another thing I would say pay attention to.
The fun thing about this, a lot of these tyrants do come back, so you have multiple chances to go back and kill them.
Yep.
So in this one, if I'm not mistaken, since this is like one of the earlier tyrants, this is kind of like a tutorial tyrant. That's why its level is like 15. It ain't it's a story tyrant, basically. So you're not having, it's not one of them ones where you just walk into, like the one I'm about to show you guys. I'm going toward the deity. I'm not gonna fight that much. I'm not even gonna wake it up. I'm just gonna show y'all that much.
You just walk up to it and screenshot. That's it. Yeah. That's all you can do.
But the story tyrants, because this one and there's another one that you have to do during the actual story. That the first time you meet them, you're not gonna get everything because you're just not going to. But the second and third times you run into them. That's when you need to like focus on getting the appendages and all that stuff. And sometimes it is a good idea to bring somebody a little bit lower level. That way they won't accidentally kill them by accident. I've had that happen a couple times.
Yeah, they're kind of talking about that in the chat. So I mean, but that just applies from regular Xenoblade. So enemies can, while you're fighting an enemy, that will draw aggro for other enemies to come in. Some enemies are actual mobs. So if one gets attacked, they're automatically sending a signal out to the other ones for help. And some enemies just have different triggers. So it's either line of sight. It may be a completely different enemy coming from somewhere else, and they, or unique monster just might spawn because it's that time of day for them to come out of the cave or whatever, and they come out of the cave while you're in the middle of a battle, and then it's all bad. So you just have to pay attention to where you are and know when certain things spawn.
Case in point, this tyrant. I actually accidentally walked in on him. I guess he was taking a bath and he didn't like that. So as you can see, he beat me. But I plan on going back and making some gator tail out of him.
Yeah.
Just give me a scale in about 5 minutes.
Yeah, they're saying in the chat. Yeah, I did go to Silverloom by foot. You kind of won't really last long there though, because everything's kind of really high level unless you've already.
The second you walk in, it's like level 50 and 60. So you kind of don't want to.
And you got to sneak around them somehow, and then there's level 60s flying in the air too. So it just depends what kind of gear you have and how over leveled you are before you get there. But yeah, you could walk along the little land bridges, swim to get there. Takes a while, but you can get there. But and there's a bunch of uniques along the way too. So yeah, you get plenty of surprises trying to get there, and trying to get to the Calderus on foot. You're just asking for.
Yeah, if
you're not already in game, I don't know what you're doing.
Yeah. Calderus is not a place I would go unless I got like medium scale.
Yeah. There's just zero reason to even go there on foot without like. I think about it twice with my end game character, so I know going there. Going there like level 20 or something, you're asking for a lot of restarting. So Triple, you were talking about the currency and whatnot. Yeah, I would. Well, early on, you're gonna have to buy gear. I think for one of the chapters, you need at least decent gear to survive one of those missions before you go back to New LA. But other than that, yeah, you're pretty much right. The majority of the better gear early on you'll get from enemies. So, and there's plenty of level 6 to level 10 enemies you can farm gear from, and then go and augment them and make them better as you go. And you'll get pretty cool drops along the way, and you'll get some. There's some legendary drops early on in the game you can get. They're pretty weak, but compared to anything else you will have during that time, it will make the battles a little bit better, for sure. He said, "Hang out on the Calder's beaches until you get a scale." Yeah, but those beaches would
Okay.
have lava.
That wouldn't
Oh
be.
man.
Got him finally.
Yeah.
That
So
dude would not topple for nothing.
and so there's a battle rhythm to the color scheme that you have too. Obviously, green gives you either a stat boost or heal. You can do, I forget what the order was. It was green, yellow, green, yellow, purple, and then red. I believe I forget what the order was. I have to. For me, it's muscle memory, so I would have to like jump in the game and play first before I could tell you out like off the top of my head. I can't logically tell you that. I have to feel it. So, but there's a certain way you can do all of your arts in order without cooldown issues. So, and obviously certain arts will recharge your cooldown, so you can just kind of like do a rotation of all your arts in a row. And at some point, you won't even need your auto attack. You'll just roll from art to art. And that'll definitely be crucial once you unlock overdrive, but that's way later in the game. But once you unlock it, that's a whole nother level of gameplay, which we can go through later. But
Yeah.
so obviously he has it here, but you need high TP to get there.
Yeah, because it drains your TP a lot.
Yeah.
A lot. So you would need, and right now I just got like Gwen just ain't cutting it right now. He's not. He's really, really hurting me right now on an emotional level. Come on.
Yeah, and then so some of these like a lot of these arts you have to position yourself well, and it's just a lot of different things you have to take into account. But literally the game tells you what each art does. So you just have to read for each one of the stats and then go from there. I would say it's kind of hard to tell you without telling you in-game stuff, but there's a way to have gear that will instantly give you high TP at the start of a battle. And it basically instantly refreshes it. So you just have to farm that gear to get it. But there's early gear that gives you decent TP to begin with. Probably not enough to jump straight into overdrive, but you could get there pretty quick with it. So and you can obviously mod your gear to do that as well. You just have to go through the different industries, if you will, to get those, to equip those mods. Buying them is definitely expensive early on. Just materials in general are pretty hard to get early on until you unlock a lot of probes. And once you unlock probes, you basically how can I say this? You auto generate resources as you move around, and that helps a lot later, especially when you need certain materials to use your scale. So,
matter of fact, kids, y'all want to see this high jump damage?
Oh yeah, got to do it. Why not? Why not? You fell in the water.
Oh, I fell.
Yeah, but this game, like, everywhere, everything you see, you can go to. So it's pretty awesome. Like you're like, hey, there's a waterfall. You can go behind the waterfall. There's probably a cave. There's just all kind of stuff that you can get into, and it's not like it's empty. That's the other thing. So you will run into stuff.
As you can see, a level 41 that I'm staying the hell away from.
Yeah.
And there's a level 7 that I'm gonna enjoy killing. Hey, buddy.
Yeah, so you can with him. What attack is that? Well, I can't. you got your scroll thing at the bottom, so I can't see the attacks. But it's
my bad. Let me take that out. There we go.
There we go. Yeah, because then you can probably see the. But basically, just kind of read it as you go through battles, and you can see like literally what's happening in real time. Which is honestly, I don't know. I favor this game a lot more because learning the combat is way more rewarding, I think, in this game than maybe the first or the second game. Xenoblade Chronicles 2 gets really good in the end game. And some of the post game DLC stuff is really, really good. And you basically break it once you have Elma because you effectively have Xenoblade Chronicles X stats at that point.
And she has overdrive.
Yeah, she has over. It literally breaks the game. So you would have Numa plus overdrive is just stupid. So, but in this game you can. There's so much to do and there's so much to learn early on. I think that's why they locked overdrive initially, because the basic combat you really have to spend several hours with that to get comfortable with it, and you need to explore and all the other kind of stuff. So just giving you all that stuff up front is probably drinking through a fire hose and way too much information. So I think they did kind of pace it the right way. And obviously, if they gave you the scales up front, the game would be broken immediately. So they kind of thought it through.
Yeah, there's literally no way to do this. If you have your scales up front, you're probably not going to enjoy this game.
Yeah.
Because it like some of this stuff, once you get your scale, a lot of these fights get kind of easy. Kind of.
Yep.
I don't want to fight that dude right now because he'll call his homeboy. I'm going the whole wrong way. You know what? Let me just take this back over to gonna take this back over to New LA right quick because there is some things I need to do. So I'll come back to Noctum in a minute.
Yeah. Triple M, I see your comment there. He said, "How come you couldn't read it? How come you could read the description at the bottom when everybody said it was unreadable?" That's because these are Wii U haters that act like 1080p monitors didn't exist back when this game came out. So this is a 720p game. So if you play it on a 4K TV, yeah, that text is going to look kind of small and kind of illegible. But who had a 4K TV in 2015?
They didn't.
I didn't get one until late 2017, 2018, maybe. So
yeah, because they were still what? They were still
fairly new at the time.
And on top of that, they were expensive.
Yeah, very expensive. Like you're spending at least $3,000. So at least.
Yeah. And that was just to get what, a 55-inch?
Yeah.
I mean, now you can get you a 75 for like $420. So
yeah, they just said, do the scales have levels separate from your character? Yes, they do. Yes. They also have gear and a whole bunch of stuff to manage as well. So they have different parts, different weapons on each piece. There's different armor you level. It's a scale is like a whole different thing. It's more detailed than your character is.
If you play Daemon X Machina, think that.
Yeah. Every part of it you have to manage. Yeah. So, and you have to manage fuel as well. So,
which is why I always say go with the medium scale instead of the light scale, because the light scale don't hold hardly no fuel.
Yep. I will say, so there's post game in this. Basically, it's free DLC that came with the game. It was DLC, but it was free for everybody. It came out like maybe a month, I think, after the game came out, and then once it updated to version 1.0.1, everybody got it. And obviously everything was there in 1.0.2. So the post game, which is interesting because it has a whole bunch of extra quests and side stories and whatnot. And one of the interesting ones is actually from one of the first characters you come across when you start getting quests from the quest board. So she is a very interesting character. I will highly suggest you do that quest. It involves another character named Yelv. So yeah.
Oh, I know which one you're talking about.
Yeah, play his quest and you're gonna be like, wait, what? And it's I will just say this. it definitely means that the end to this game is not the end to this game, and people are not good in this universe. They're not good at all. That much I will say. So
let's just say everybody that made it off Earth was not a good person.
Yeah.
And we just ended it that.
The best person in this game is her. She's not even human.
Yeah. Basically.
It's wild.
The reason why I came back is I noticed I was having a whole lot of trouble with some of these Noxilum bosses, and I realized I forgot to upgrade my weapons.
Oh yeah, yeah, yep. Resist physical defense down. Yep.
So it's always a good idea before you go do any kind of quest, stop through Armory Alley just to make sure you got enough stuff from taking out monsters to actually upgrade your stuff. Because while you may not have enough money, you can still upgrade stuff to like help you out.
Yep, and so you just use the last two materials you farmed off that enemy to boost the stats. So you got ranged attack up now, and you can do these stats. You can do depending on what equipment you can have. You can do all the way up to I believe it's 10 or no, it's actually double X, so 20, I think.
Yeah.
But so you can do max TP up 20, max, whatever.
But I think that's chapter. That's chapter 6 or 7, I think, when you can unlock that.
Yeah, unless you start farming some really interesting stuff early on, which would be interesting to do because I don't know how you do that with there's some guys that are like some of these YouTubers that have played the hell out of this game. They know how to do it with like level 1 characters.
Yeah. But a lot of that stuff they had to break the game to do it.
They break the game to do it. They figure out a way to pad stats, and then they're able to have like a level 10 character and they're mopping the game because they have the best gear or they max potential out. So you max potential out, then you have a skill with the stat that maxes the damage for your potential, and then that basically breaks the game at that point. So later on that will become a thing, and if you have overdrive, it's a wrap. So overdrive plus potential plus any appendage crusher skill, like you're killing pretty much everything. But you got to get there first. You got to work your way to get there. But this is an interesting place to go to the terminal and invest in stuff, and then you get more gear, more materials. The more you invest, kind of situation. It's up to you. So you can either try to do this to get more stuff, or you can just go out in the world and just farm it off of animals, or enemies. But typically, it's going to require you running into a lot of things that are higher level than you, or have unique names for you to be able to get higher level gear out in the field.
And some of this stuff does it. This game does reward you for grinding a lot of stuff, because sometimes a couple of playthroughs of just nothing, just going through, just killing stuff is gonna come in handy.
Yep.
Like spend like a couple hours, not even doing real. You can do quests because there is a metric ton of quests in here, but just going out and killing stuff and taking out those low level tyrants over and over again is actually gonna help you get a lot of, and doing your probes and figuring out how to link your probes up to give you the max Maranium to help you out. So, but that probably comes with the figuring the probe situation out. I had to get help on that. I'm not even gonna lie, because some of that stuff I thought I was doing it right, and I was linking them all the way wrong.
Yeah, so, but then there's ways. Even if you do it wrong, you'll still get some decent bonuses. So you can play around and experiment. I don't know how it's going to work in Definitive Edition, but it's pretty easy to figure out on the gamepad. So I definitely don't know how that's going to go. And the other thing that we forgot to talk about, the online, right? So and I don't know if that's going to be there day one. We have to wait to see what. I'm pretty sure they're going to do a Xenoblade Chronicles X Direct or whatever, right?
They're going to need to. They're going to.
So
especially with all those changes, they're gonna have to.
Yeah. So they did a trial. They did a private online trial that they invited some YouTubers and some other influencers too, and some people with Nintendo accounts too. And all of the features that they were testing were literally what you do in Xenoblade Chronicles X. So it's obvious that's what's coming. I guess the question is, will it be more fun or a little bit more engaging if you go online with people and you do quests and stuff like that, and then you get tickets and then you exchange those tickets for gear and stuff like that instead of doing the normal grinding and farming? Because I was doing some of that stuff pretty late game, and I kind of wish that I had done that stuff early. So I wonder if that's a thing too, because that is like a quicker way to get some of that stuff early on, and then you're playing with other people and stuff, and then you get to see their stats and their builds, and you can compare it to your build too, which is kind of cool. You can recruit them to your party or just join in an online match with other people. So that kind of stuff might be interesting.
Yeah. Matter of fact, even though it's offline, we can still show you what it looked like, at least what it looked like on the Wii U.
Yeah, the squad mission list is still there. You just can't connect for whatever reason. I guess because they finally did take the servers down. They were up for a while.
They were up longer than. Remember when they did that test? Was a year and a half ago? They were still up when I came in. Up. Yeah, because I actually did the Telethia fight on my last playthrough, and we still lost.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can see the active squad, all the global stuff is out. But you can still use reward tickets because that's like a single player thing anyway.
Yep. So you can use those to get whatever you need.
Yep.
Which is pretty interesting. Matt Jazz in the chat talking about the no pawn quests are pretty dark in here, and I don't want to spoil that, but let's just say for a race of individuals that are supposed to be, I won't say spacefaring, but they're aware of things outside of what's going on in this game. They really, really believe in this legend. So they have this, not necessarily religion, but they have this belief of things of what's to come. And unfortunately, it goes really, really bad. And you find out in a very devastating way. But I would say every last one of these quests is worth playing. And pay attention to them too, because they kind of, a lot of stuff cuts deep. So I think a lot of people, because it didn't give you voice acting and force it down your throat, that this game didn't have a deep story. And I'm like, the game really doesn't pick up until post game, to be honest with you. If you're talking about stuff that's happening and how the world evolves and stuff like that, like you don't really find out who Elma is until after you beat the game, because there's a whole nother post game quest with her.
Yeah.
So
and there are some side quests in here are jacked up,
yeah,
to say the least.
People are bad.
Yeah. Now I will say, like, the side quests in here aren't on the level of the ones in Xenoblade Chronicles 2 as far as how crazy some of those went, but there are a few of them in here that are just like, dude, that's jacked up.
Yeah,
like that's straight up jacked up. So
yeah, and there's some spoilers too that you'll learn later, especially if you didn't know, you definitely will know by the time you finish Yale's quest. But there's some spoilers about life on Mirror, and once you know that and you start reading some of these arcs and these other side quests, it's pretty dark, man. What humanity has to do, what other alien races feel like they have to do. It's kind of out there.
Yeah.
Hey, there she is, Eleanor.
Yeah.
What an interesting character.
I always remember to talk to her, by the way.
Yep. Manon, I forgot about them too. So there's the alien race here that befriends you at some point, and
they are so weird.
yeah, they're interesting.
Yeah,
They're very interesting. They
but
have a lot of similarities with Ninja Turtles. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, but they got some powerful weapons, man.
Yep.
They got some powerful weapons once you get used to them. So
yeah, and there's a lot of quests in New LA too for the people in the city and stuff. You could do that kind of stuff. You get lost in a lot in this game.
Yeah.
You really don't have to leave New LA to do a lot.
Yeah. So yeah. Oh, they finally put it up, so I can probably do that because that's the story stuff. Yep. I'll wait on that, but yeah, everything has a difficulty thing to it. So yeah, and you can just pick them, and as soon as you get done with it, it'll just go. That's one thing I like about this one. You don't have to come back here to turn it in. It just once you beat it, okay, here go your money.
Yep.
So yeah.
Which other games like I'm playing Xenoblade right now. Like, why do I have to go back to the thing to turn in? Like, I did the thing. You should know, like, we're in the future. I don't even have to call you. You know it happened. So that's
like me personally, I like doing the bounty hunts. Like Cyrene the Lost, I remember beating the brakes off Cyrene the Lost. But I think where Cyrene is like right where a level 45 thing is.
Yeah.
So even though Cyrene itself is like level, I think it's like level 13 or something like that. So yeah, I usually have to fight Cyrene after I get my scale, just because to get to him.
That's crazy, Triple M. I don't know how you beat the main mode without you. Well, maybe you use overdrive, but you said you didn't master it. So yeah, I mean, yeah, you could probably beat the game without using it too much, but at some point, there's a certain phase to that battle. Like you kind of need it. If you don't, you at least need I'm trying to think of the name of the attack.
Overdrive makes that fight at the end so much easier and manageable.
Yeah, that one phase you kind of need it because there's too much going on. I'm trying to think of there. It's another attack that I use. It's a heat attack, and I can't think of the name of it, but I used that, and that kind of helped when I did not have overdrive active. And I don't know why I can't think of the name of it right now. But honestly, I use that a lot too. And in another mission that you have overdrive, but you don't have enough TP to start it in that battle, and you're going against a scale, so it's kind of like unfair, and because you're on foot, it's a crazy battle. But so I use that same rotation with that attack when I did not have overdrive, and then eventually you fight long enough and you have no TP where you can do it, but it takes a while for that one battle because they made sure you didn't have no TP when you got started. Arena, wow.
It's funny. I'm trying to see because I'm trying to see did I actually level her up? I don't think I did.
So you won't have to worry about that in the remaster too. So in the remaster, everybody levels together, which is great.
Yeah, because one of my gripes with this game is the fact that they want you to go get other people. But the problem is when you go get them, if you're level 30 or 40 and they level 15, that's a waste of time.
Yeah, you're dragging them around, watching them die, picking them up.
Yeah. And the sad thing about it is they want you to do these high level missions with them being so under leveled. I'm like, why did nobody at Monolith Soft see this?
Yeah.
Like, so yeah, the fact that you don't have to go find everybody just to get them. Like once you find them, they're on your list and you just pick them. And the fact that everybody levels together, that's gonna make this so much a little bit more smoother. I say the experience smoother at least.
Yeah, I found myself a couple of times I ended up recruiting people and I had to go back to the beginning stages of Primordia playing as that character with my other leveled people in my party and then just grinding to level that person, and then I put them. Then I make them a NPC in my party again, and then take them through their quest. Because if not, it's just a pain. Because now you basically have a weak fourth person in your party,
and that's not helpful.
Yeah,
at all. Especially especially getting close to end game because what's that? It's one of those side quests where you go to Silverlum but you got to get one of the Harriers, and they're like level 25, but by that point you're like level 40.
Yeah,
and you're like, dude, come on, man, like come on.
And they're not ready. They're just constantly dying. Like you just might as well solo it.
Yeah. So that's why I was like, that was one of the things where he's like, okay, come back to Primordia. Let's go fight a couple tyrants, get your level up, and then make sure you get a good scale, and then we'll go. Because that's just what you had to do. But yeah, I think we can stop it for here for tonight. But I just wanted to give people a heads up because once again, I don't want the Metroid Dread situation to happen all over again, where you got people complaining about the game was too hard, but y'all kept crying about that you love Metroid.
I mean, the game is Xenoblade, right? But like it's like Xenoblade on crack too, because you could really go wherever you want to go. It's not blocked by story beats, but you will pay. So it's just one of those things where I think only Xenoblade Chronicles 3 lets you do. Well, even then, it still does like cutscenes if you go too far, depending on where you go.
Xenoblade Chronicles 3 is open world ish until you get to the end.
Yeah.
Once you get to the end of your chapter, everything from that chapter back is open. But everything above that you can't get to. They literally won't let you go there. But
in this game, once Elma introduces you,
you're good.
And you walk out for the first time, that's it.
If you want to go to Calderos, if you can get there, you can. I wouldn't advise it, but you can.
It's wide open. You have a whole dangerous world that's ready to kill you. So I would highly suggest that you, bare minimum, you want to at least run through chapter 3 at the bare minimum before you start venturing out to explore.
I would say when you get Overdrive, right?
Yeah. And even then, like the main quest anyway will have you go off the beaten path, because there'll be like some weird requirement for you to start the next quest. So you have to go off the beaten path to do a couple of things anyway before you can start the next quest. So it's kind of guiding you on what to do before you even start. So I would say just stick to that, and then it'll kind of tell you what to do to progress, instead of, hey, let me just wing it and see what happens before I even get to chapter 2. That's probably not a good idea.
It's especially going to Oblivion where the weather can kill you.
Yeah.
So before you have any kind of resistance or anything. So I'm looking forward to this when it releases. Just because I want to see what the new content is. But I really hope we get a Treehouse Live at least a couple weeks before, so they can go. Because look, I played Wonderful 101 on Switch. The superior version is still the Wii U.
Yep.
And I'll leave it at that. Stuff that's made specifically for the system sometimes really is better on the system it was specifically made for. That being said, I will give Monolith Soft this. They know how to do expansion and additions to story. So I have more faith in them than I do in other teams, to be fair. So I'm willing to give them I'm willing to, see what they got in store, see what they got cooking, and hopefully it works out. Because one of the advantages was having that map on the gamepad set up, so you don't have to constantly have to flip back and forth.
And you don't feel as lost either, because you constantly have the map there, so you don't. Yeah, it just. I don't know how that's gonna go. We'll see. Obviously, they have something up their sleeve that's gonna make traversal a lot better. We'll see.
Yeah,
what happens. I'd be great if Switch 2 had a second screen. We'll see.
Yeah,
we'll see how that goes. But
we'll see how that goes. But Sertan, if that's what's next, hey, I'm all for it. I'm down. I'm
that'll work
down.
for me.
Yeah.
And look at this game in all this 720p glory. It looks fine to me.
I mean, dude, we just saw the real time ray tracing a few minutes ago.
Yeah, it's great. It's great. The God rays are there. It's self shadowing, all that kind of stuff is there.
All that beautiful water.
Yep.
Okay, I really need to stop. But all right, peeps. Y'all have a good one. We'll see you guys on Sunday. We got Vicky and Debbie coming through. It's that time of year, trying to get ready for the BIPOC Streamer Awards. So they're gonna come chill out with us and let us know what we need to do for that as we get ready for that. And then we got some topics we're gonna discuss that I think we'll have some fun with. So see you guys on Sunday. Thank you everybody in chat for coming through and hanging out. And we'll see you guys there. Peace out, people.
Later, y'all.